Let's go to Daryl in Johnson City, Tennessee. Daryl, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dr. John?
I'm doing all right, my man. You sound down this morning. How are things?
Oh, it's good. I work third shift, so, I'm a little tired. But, I'm always glad to talk to you.
Well, always glad to talk to you, even though it's our first time. So what's up, man?
Yeah, my question is, me and my ex-wife are recently going through a divorce, and I just want to know how I could still be there for her and my children.
Man, so give me the details, brother.
Oh, well, let's see. We were together for about, 8 years. We have 2 beautiful kids. And then, we, of course, had issues like every marriage. And we decided to separate. And then we decided if we needed...
Did something happen?
Okay. It's more of me being dumb and in the marriage and
what does that
having
mean?
problems. And I decided to ask another female about my marriage problems, and that caused a lot of issues. And
did you cheat on your wife?
No, but I mean, in a way, me talking to another woman is infidelity.
Okay.
But I didn't cheat, but in a way that is cheating.
Okay. And so ultimately, but that happens. In fact, I don't know many marriages where that doesn't happen in some shape, form, or fashion. So that in and of itself wouldn't lead to divorce. What was the decision you guys came to that said, "Hey, I'm out"?
It was more of we were always better friends than we were married, and we decided that we would rather be separated and be a united front for our children than be married and fight all the time.
Why didn't y'all decide just to not fight all the time?
I don't know. We could be in a room and, within 10 minutes we'll get on each other's nerves and just start fighting.
I know,
but we didn't.
But you made the decision to dissolve your family unit, and that's hard and painful and incredibly expensive and a beating and grief filled and all those things. Wouldn't it have been easier just to decide to not fight?
It would have.
Or just be
no doubt about that.
Hey, why don't I just respect you and be kind? And sure, we can watch that movie, or sure, I'll quit eating that, or whatever the thing is. I won't fart in the living room. I don't know what your things were, but man.
Yeah.
So is this a done deal? It's over?
Yeah, it's definitely a done deal. We go to court soon for it to get it finalized.
And there's no going back.
I mean,
you haven't given me any. You're calling to ask how you can love your wife, your soon-to-be ex-wife, well, and you're calling me to ask how you can honor and love your kids during the separation and while they move into a different home or whatever the custody arrangement will be. And you haven't given me any reason at all as to why y'all just kind of cashed it out, other than you quit putting gas in the car and then it slowly just sputtered and stopped. And instead of filling it with gas, y'all just said, let's just leave it on the side of the road. You go that way, I'll go this way. You haven't given me anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds like you really still like this lady.
Oh, I mean, yes, I do still love her. She's moved on. I guess I haven't moved on, but I'm in a process of trying to move past it and try to be there for my kids.
So one of two things, brother, and then I'll answer your question. Either there's something big going on here that you're not telling me, which is fine, you don't have to. Or there is a major, major conversation that's been left unsaid. There is a hard conversation that one of you said, hey, why don't we just do this? And then someone said, yeah, we were better off this way anyway. And what about that? And it's for the kids and partridge in a pear tree. And suddenly both of you guys are walking like those movies where the person keeps looking back. right when the other person turns their head and the other person looks back, right when the other person turns their head. And then y'all just kept on walking. And so here's what I'll tell you. We've all heard stories about folks meeting at the courthouse to go finalize divorce, and they just go to breakfast and make sure everybody's on the same page. And suddenly they say, what are we doing? And if it's not too late, I'll tell you right now, I don't care if she's quote unquote moved on or you quote unquote moved on. Y'all been together a decade, man. She's a part of you. And if there's a shred of you that says, hey, man, is this the only last nuclear option? Do we have to hit this button? Call her up and say, hey, do we have to hit this button? Because, man, it is way, way easier to decide to quit fighting. That's an easy, it's a simple, easy thing to do. It's hard, but it's simple, right? And you can reprogram yourself on how you talk to one another and how you love each other and how you show up for each other. And you're getting a bird's eye view of what the other side of this thing looks like, and it sucks. Right?
Yeah, because I always told myself, when I got married, I wasn't going to get divorced because, my parents, when I was, younger, they divorced as well, but that didn't go good at all.
No, it never does, man. Never does.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm going to try my best. And, it went sideways, and now we're divorcing, but, I told them, I'm going to at least, get along with her, co-parent and make sure that, my kids know they are loved and we are both there for them.
I get that. And it's honorable that that's your approach. I get that. But part of me sounds like you are about to push a button to launch a missile, and you're letting folks know, hey, I'm going to sweep up all the damage. I'm going to clean it up really nice. I promise. I'm going to sweep up all the glass and the metal and all the bodies. I'm going to sweep all that up. I will be a good cleaner. And I feel like just saying, like, do you have to hit the button? That's all I'm asking. So, man, I tell you right now, I've heard it more than once. If there's a shred of you that says, hey, can we still make a go at this thing? Call your wife before she becomes your ex-wife and take her out somewhere and have that hard conversation. If it is what it is and that thing's a foregone conclusion, here's how you be there for your ex and for your kids. You be there for your ex and for your kids. See, the challenge is you're going to get divorced and you're going to have to end up doing the things and working on the things that would have kept you married in the first place. You're going to have to choose to not be frustrated when she does the things that make you annoyed, and she's going to have to choose the same thing also. You're going to have to choose to never try to quote unquote win an engagement with her. It's going to always be about how can you demonstrate that she's a person of value and dignity in front of your children and not in front of your children. You have to treat her that way. Always talk positively about her. Don't fight and yell and scream, because fighting, yelling, and screaming only ends up in piles of bodies. It's a complete waste of time and energy most of the time. Unless there's a major abuse or, drug use or breaking the law, things like that. And so at the end of the day, you're going to have to choose to honor this woman. And for some reason, you chose to walk away from her instead of honoring her the first time. So you're going to have to figure out how to do all these things anyway. And then when it comes to your kids, you're going to have to make sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you show up. You never miss. You never miss. Don't bring a parade of other people through their life until you are confident that somebody is stable and has their best interest in mind as well. Make sure that you and your wife can show up to parent conferences together, that y'all can show up to mother and school plays together, things like that. You're going to have to be in each other's lives. You're going to have to be.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to probably go see somebody and work on your childhood stuff, the separation from your parents that you're still rattling around in your head. That's still a point of hurt and failure for you. You're going to have to choose to not be angry. You're going to have to choose to be a person who just lets things go, right? That's called wisdom and maturity and growth. Probably going to have to get your butt in a gym and learn how to be physically able to take care of yourself, to honor your own body, because I don't think you do right now. You're going to have to do all of these things. And so here's what I'm telling you right? That's a tall list. It's a tall order. You're basically going to have to reimagine how you live, Daryl, and then go make it happen. Here's the cool thing. I know that you can. You wouldn't be calling me if you weren't interested in that. I know that you can.
Yeah.
And I know that your kids are worth it. And I know you're committed to not replaying the life that you were given early on in your road, right?
Yes.
That one that told you, hey, mom and dad broke up and it's probably somewhat a little bit, tiny bit your fault. And they didn't stay connected because, man, you really got in the way there, right? Whatever that message is, dad wanted away from her so bad that he ended up getting away from you too, or whatever the story that you still tell yourself. At the end of the day, it's not your fault. You're going to have to work through that stuff. And, man, if there's a chance, work through it with a partner. Work through it with somebody who's been ride or die for 10 years. Maybe not. Maybe I'm too optimistic, man. But I can tell you, I don't know a marriage that hasn't had a crossroads that says, hey, this is probably not working out for us, or why do we even do this, or what are we doing, or I crossed this line, or she crossed that line, or whatever, that can't get in a room and say, hey, I said forever. And if you still mean forever, we'll figure this out, because you're going to have to figure it out anyway. Or that forest fire of trauma goes to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, and so on and so forth. So, Daryl, thanks so much for that call, brother. Thank you for being a brave guy. Not a lot of guys will get on the air and talk with me like you did, so I'm grateful for you. Thanks for your willingness to clean up the mess after y'all make it. And at least on my behalf, thank you for considering one last time, do I have to push this button? Is this thing a foregone conclusion? Have I screwed up this bad? Is she that unlikable, unlovable that we can't get in a room, probably with a therapist, and figure this thing out? I'll be rooting for you, man. Rooting for you. And if this thing is final, if y'all do go to the courthouse together and sign those papers, walk out in that parking lot and look each other in the eye and say, from this point forward, we are friends. We honor one another. We treat each other with dignity. And we love these kids more than they will ever understand until they have their own kids, right? That's the narrative and that's the story.